I really didn't want to do it, but I gotta do it. So right now, guys, we're about to talk about Tyrese. It seems like every time I hear Tyrese, it's like his name is now synonymous with an L. So let's explain the situation. So what exactly went wrong in the situation?
So let's give a quick overview. Shout out to the lead attorney. I got most of the information from him. So this is what happened. Tyrese was not paying the child support amount that he was ordered to pay from the court because he was saying that it was more than what was necessary because his ex-wife makes almost like 160 plus a year from YouTube and from her job.
Shedding light on Samantha Gibson making well over $100,000 a year outside of what I make per year, and the necessary needs of the actual child are beyond met.
And so he was only paying, I think maybe might have been $2,500 a month when the judge had ordered him to pay $10,000 a month. So what they did was they held Tyrese in contempt. They called him to courts, and what happened is Tyrese had a series of losses, but he had one big win. The one big win that he had was that the judge allowed him to pay the money that he owed to his ex-wife in child support into a escrow account, pending an appeal to see if they will have the $10,000 that he was ordered to pay reversed. Because if he had given her the money up front, that would have been spent.
You're aware that if you pay these amounts and then the Court of Appeals reverses it, you don't get your money back.
I am well aware of it.
That was an argument from his lawyer. That was a win for Tyrese. But other than that, all losses. So he was ordered to pay back taxes on the amount that he hadn't paid for child support. He has to pay the attorney's fees for both of his ex-wife's attorneys, because what happened was she went in to get attorneys and they asked her, who is your ex-husband, or who's your husband? And when she said Tyrese, they saw dollar signs. So all they did was they took down the initial retainer from her, and after that they did not charge her for anything else. Why? Because they already knew they were probably going to get that money from Tyrese, which they did. Now Tyrese had a prenup, and that prenup should have protected him. And in the prenup, there was a clause that stated that if they were ever to get divorced and it was a contested divorce, that each side would pay their own attorney's fees. However, they had an arbitrator come in before they went to court, and the arbitrator, for some odd reason, stated that the divorce was not contested. So because of that, Tyrese ended up having to pay for the attorney's fees, both his and hers, as well as the arbitrator.
I'm just calculating all the L's in my head. It's a lot. Like I'm waiting to hear like the dub where like he gets a W. Like that's what I'm waiting for. If I took the L in the first marriage, I ain't getting married again.
Me either.
I'm like, listen, it's been nice. We can be long-term relationship, whatever, but I ain't taking this L again, bro.
I feel you. You know what's crazy?
This is his third L, right? Third relationship. Third marriage.
I think it might be. I don't know. But here's the thing, too. Again, shout out to the lead attorney.
Lead attorney here.
He was saying that this basically turned into a glorified child support case. Because he had a prenup in place, the prenup protected him for the most part.
Got you. So the child support is what it is.
So that's why he got called to court, because he wasn't paying the $10,000 in child support. And the
you.
judge had it out from the start. Damn. Apparently, the judge was like basing the child support he has to pay to his ex-wife, who lives in Atlanta, off of the child support he pays for the ex-wife that lives in California.
That's so messed up.
The cost of living.
Yeah, the cost of living is way different.
Right.
And listen, Atlanta, the price is going up a little bit, but like not like freaking LA. LA is ridiculous.
Nah, that's not even close. Not to mention, anyway, so yeah, the judge had it out for him. The judge is kind of crazy, apparently. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about the court system. I've been to court about once or twice before, real minor stuff. As soon as you step foot in the courtroom, it's all on the judge. And it really depends on who's representing you. But for the most part, like, because I came on there on some little, like, parking stuff, like some ticket stuff. It's like the judge literally listened to me for about 2 seconds. And I was like, dang, I could only imagine if this was, like, a real serious case.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you have all that money. Like, you couldn't have talked to someone about how to do this good or... Yeah,
he got the prenup. But there's nothing you can do about child support.
There's nothing you can do about child support. So that is...
You can't put the child support in the prenup. Just doesn't... You can't. So he really, if you're a man and you want to have a child, whatever state you're in, you're at the mercy of that state's child support laws if your wife was to leave you, or I guess if you leave her, or whatever the case may be. You can't do much about it.
Man, we need some better laws, man. What the heck is up?
We do need better laws. They need to stop basing child support off of strictly what the man makes. I think that child support should be based upon, like, you know how they have the consumer price index or whatever?
Yeah.
I think they need to like base child support off of different factors, like how much the average cost of a rent is in that state or whatever county or whatever it is, the average cost of groceries per month. They need to have like ways to calculate how much it costs for a child.
They need to put a cap on it, because it kind of seems like you can just go off and do whatever. But it's crazy because people will say like, "Oh, I need $10K in child support,"
right? But
there's people raising their kids off of barely $500. I mean, of course they're getting assistance, right?
Right.
But even with the assistance, it's not going to cost $10,000.
No.
So I mean, here's how I would think would be most practical. Like, obviously, you got to base on what people can afford, but I just put everything on a card. And have the card on credit, but at the end of the month, both parents have to split how much they paid using the card. So, like, let's say they went to a grocery store, got diapers and like all this other stuff like that. They'd have to split the cost. That's how I would do it. Am I a judge? Am I a district attorney? Am I a child support person? No, but that's just my opinion. So,
I like your idea. Thing about that is probably that you know how it normally goes. The woman's going to get custody 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And so since she has custody, she's probably not going to be ordered to pay child support. So it'll be the man paying that card.
That's why I said for them to use the card. So let's say like, oh, I got to get diapers a day. Oh, I got to take them to daycare. They use the card so that way you can see how many things are racked up on the card that are solely for the child. Because I think the problem is that people get child support and spend it in a bunch of different areas that's not correlated to the child. I'm not saying all women do that. I'm just saying generally that you, like, what can you say? Like, if I give you $1,000 and then it automatically floods in my bank account, which $1,000 did you use to like go towards, you know? So I don't know. It's either way, it's a messy situation. I think it's interesting that Tyrese kind of tried to call people together to like support him, and like nobody showed up. Everybody was like,
And ain't nobody showing up for me. I got all these millionaire friends. I got billionaire friends. I've been there for you. Why nobody's there for me?
I mean, a large part of that, if we're being honest, Tyrese just has a terrible reputation at this point. Like, he called out Will Smith talking about you owe me money, and it turns out like he just said that he was on medication. It's
Why you do that?
and then like he got in an argument with The Rock like a couple of years ago, and then that didn't end up well over the Fast and Furious stuff. So it's like people already see him as being someone who's so overly emotional that like people just don't take him seriously, because it's like, okay, which version of Tyrese am I gonna get? Am I gonna get the fabricated story medication Tyrese, or are you gonna be mad at The Rock for a movie? Like, people really don't know what to say about him. Ultimately, it's sad, man. I hate seeing anyone getting taken to the cleaners for something that, like, you know, they just want to see their kids.
Don't take my baby. I'm at $13,000 a month. What more do you want from me?
I mean, we report so many of these stories about these divorces, man. And at this point, it's just... something got to get done. It's like we got to have our own little lobby, our own little party or something that is regarding these laws, because at this point, it's like... It's just L's. I don't understand how someone can legally ask someone to pay absurd amount of child support. Like, for like, $10K or $300K... $20K for child support. It's like your kid doesn't need all of this stuff. Like, is it nice to provide a better and good school? Absolutely. But if you took your kid to a C-class school, they'd still be fine, you know?
From what I've heard from like lawyers is that a lot of times the judge, their main thing is to do what's in the best interest of the child.
Yeah.
And so if the child had a certain lifestyle when the parents were together, they don't want to take the child from having that lifestyle to having a much lesser lifestyle. So if the father was making $1 million a year and they lived in a mansion and they went to the best schools, then the parents get divorced and then their mother gets left with, I don't know, a lot less money, and now they have to move to a worse neighborhood, a worse school system. That's negatively affecting the child now.
Yeah.
And the judge doesn't want that. That's why they do things the way they do. That doesn't mean that you have to pay $20,000 a month for child support, but I'm just saying that's what I've heard the thinking is.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard that too. I'll be honest. I kind of think that's BS. I think that at some point in time, you got to let your kid know about, I mean, it's just life. Listen, your dad, or let's say your mom is a corporate lawyer, and your dad works at Burger King. That's just, they both made different decisions in life. One has a better lifestyle and the other one doesn't. That's just life. I mean, it's, oh, when you go over here, it's like this, and when you go over here, it's like this. Yes. It's life. What you gonna do? Like, I don't see how, like, being like, okay, well, because he or she worked less harder, now let me give them some of this person's money, so that way in your head you can pretend that they worked as hard as this person. That to me is more mentally unstable, because then you're teaching someone that you can work less and get the same amount as someone who worked harder. Because I remember actually Halle Berry even talked about this because they got Halle Berry for like alimony. Mm-hmm. And Halle Berry was complaining, like, why do I have to pay this to him? Because he makes less.
So that's what I was going to say. So you said alimony. That's a key difference. Alimony and child support.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's two different things. I was just...
Because the child has nothing to do with what their parents are saying.
Yeah. I was just trying to say that, like, in one example, it's just someone who earned their way, made up a certain amount, but it's distributed to the other person who didn't work as hard.
For the child, though. Not for the other person. For child support.
Yeah.
Now, alimony is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And shout out to Tyrese, he was at least smart enough the second time or third time, whatever it is, to get a prenup.
Good Lord.
To say, to protect the child. But again, and that's the thing. That's part of the reason why the ex-wife was pushing so much for more child support. Because she originally asked for alimony. They only been married 3 years, and she asked for alimony. And they're like, no, the prenup says it's not going to happen. So she didn't get any alimony.
So then she tried to rake it up on the child support.
Exactly.
Got you.
And see, that's what I hate whenever they're using the child as leverage to get more.
Yeah, I mean, the system's got obvious holes in it. Everybody knows it. I think there's honestly too much money in that industry, which is why they probably don't want to fix it.
Absolutely.
But I mean, at some point in time, people are just going to be like, all right, well, I'm good on this. So, I mean, something's going to have to change. And the way that I see it is that, like, a lot of women, especially a lot of younger women, are starting to make more than a lot of younger men. So I think when things turn more over to, like, women are paying a lot of it, I think, because, okay, women are the majority of voters right now, opposed to men. So I think once it gets to a point where they're going to have to start paying absurd amount of child support and stuff like that, or absurd amounts of alimony is when you'll see, like, a big shift. That's what I think.
That's not a bad theory. However, what I'll say to that is that could be the reaction, or it could be what we're already seeing is that a lot of women are choosing to stay single because they haven't found the right guy who can meet their standards and match their level because they're making so much.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see probably what we're seeing now, a declining birth rate. Because less people getting together because the less women are choosing men because the men don't meet their standards.
No. I mean, that's definitely a big possibility. But I think once people reach a certain age, once you get to your late 30s, late 40s, people don't want to stay single forever, man.
Oh, we know that.
So, I mean, I think if anything, what will end up happening is the women that really want high earners they're just going to have to double up.
Double up?
On one guy.
Oh, I mean, yeah. So that the way that would,
because if there's not enough to go around, I mean, what else are they going to do?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to conceptualize how that would look in real life, and that's not going to look like a bunch of women living in one house with one guy sitting at the table.
No.
What it's like is a bunch of single mothers, which we have. It's going to be a bunch of single mothers because they want to, like you said, all come in on this one guy.
Yeah.
Get pregnant by him to have his baby, but not be with him.
Yeah.
And they'll just raise the baby by themselves. They have no problem with that. I've heard that many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
me too,
so,
I've heard that.
Right. And so then. Is that any better? I mean, I don't know. I mean, just because you're not raised above parents, I mean, just many successful stories.
Yeah. But
I mean, yeah, things are just weird. We're like hitting this peak in society where things are just starting to get weird. Because you know what I mean? Like all the things that keep the nuclear family together are kind of dissipating.
I was about to say that.
You know, once you get into
this, it is getting odd.
It's kind of odd, yeah.
Kind of like there's just certain things that are just like really out of place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like what's going on here?
Yeah, Tyrese, bad decisions, man. Bad
All
decisions. All of them are bad decisions. Choose wisely.
All of them.
Fool me once, shame on you. I'll give you a pass for that first one. After that, bro.
Yeah, bro. If you take a L during the first one, it's just a learn. The L stands for learning.
Exactly.
But eventually, what happens is like, bro, it literally becomes a loss.
Oh, fire.
Like literally, then the L just becomes a loss, and it stays a loss, and you're not learning nothing because you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
It's reverse psychology.
Ultimately, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna say, keep Tyrese in your prayers, man, because he's gonna need them. That child support bill is hefty, and his dominoes just keep falling. Any last redeeming?
Redeeming? Okay,
I was trying to be nice. Listen, yeah. I'm trying to be nice.
Okay, yeah. The only redeeming thing I can say is that Tyrese took a chance. He said, I'm not going to pay this $10,000 a month like I was ordered to in the risk of being held in contempt, which he was.
Yeah.
But he got the right lawyer, and the lawyer said, listen, judge, what you don't want to happen is we take this to an appeals court, a judge, and they say, you're dumb. Why would you say he has to pay $10,000 a month? That's wrong. And they reverse the judge's decision because that's a very bad look for the judge.
Yeah.
And because of that, the judge is like, okay, fine. And he let Tyrese pay that $10,000 into an escrow account. Still got to pay the fees and taxes he didn't pay, but that's a win. Because if he had paid that ahead of time, he would have never saw that money again. And so now I can go to the appeals court, and maybe the amount will be reduced. Maybe instead of $10,000, it's 5 to who knows. That could be an L, and so sorry, that could be a W. Why's your face like that?
Because that was just a lot that you just freaking explained, and I'm like, damn.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, hopefully he pays less than he's ordered to pay, less than $10,000 a month. We'll see.
Be careful who you marry.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, it's been Bad Decisions. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and we are out.